I talked to LGBTQ people across the state about the legislation we're expecting to see this session and what it means to them. I'm told they're watching it, they're concerned about it, but it's also coming at a time when LGBTQ visibility is growing in Montana communities.
My lips just aren't sitting how I want them to.
Anita is a familiar face around the state.
Depending on how distracted I get, it can take me an hour and a half to 3 hours to get ready, just kind of depending on everything going on, and if I'm chit-chatting or just power painting, as I call it. You're just like, it's time, and you're excited to get to the show and perform for everyone.
A performance that means more than just a great show.
To be providing a safe space on top of a creative space for them, but a safe space for the audience.
Drag shows are booming in popularity. There were just a few shows a year in Bozeman 3 years ago, and now
we're at like 30 shows a year, 50.
It's similar in other cities. While members of the LGBTQ community in the state take a major step forward into the public arena.
When I think about what my election means, yes, there's the historic having a trans woman in the legislature for the first time, but it's also, personally, it's a reminder that I'm embraced by my community.
Zoe Zephyr says it will be valuable to have trans people in the legislature. She and Missoula Representative S.J. Howell, who is non-binary, will both serve in their first session, in part to be a part of conversations about LGBTQ rights in Montana.
We know the effect that these bills have, whether they pass or not. When these bills come forward, they harm my community. They put fear into kids when their healthcare may be taken away, when a young trans kid wants to play sports with their friends. It's hard on the community.
A contentious 2021 legislative session saw a bill seeking to block transgender women from playing in collegiate athletics blocked by the Supreme Court in a ruling this fall.
We also saw a couple passed by one vote, and I remember thinking I could change that heart. Maybe if they knew a trans person and talked to me.
This session, lawmakers anticipate returning to these discussions about how LGBTQ people are recognized and received in society. Columbia Falls Representative Braxton Mitchell is working on a bill that will prohibit kids from attending drag shows. He says he became concerned after hearing about reading events at Zoo Montana that drew protests.
Yeah, so my biggest thing is, children aren't allowed to be at strip clubs. They're not allowed to be at, any type of sexually oriented business. And you're seeing now in more recent years, a lot of these drag performances and shows, whatever you want to call them, are turning into a very sexual event. And I don't think that's something that children should be around.
Although the language isn't finalized yet, the bill would seek to regulate events at publicly funded facilities like schools and libraries. Other draft legislation proposed for the session includes efforts to modify access to information about sex and sexuality.
That would specifically remove and censor different pieces of education or curriculum, or even what books are available in the library.
Similar legislation made its rounds through other state legislatures in 2021 and 22. A new national report by nonprofit research group PEN America has found books were banned 2,532 times in public schools across the U.S. in the past 2 years. 41% of those banned included LGBTQ themes or characters. The legislature kicks off January 3rd in Helena. In Billings, Augusta McDonald, MTN News.